What is good, YouTube? Welcome back to OddToxin Gaming. And today I'm actually bringing you a Serpent Night Dragon deck profile. So the Serpent Night Dragon actually uses a Rex Raptor skill, and that is called Nightmare Sonic Blast. So what this skill does is you can activate this skill while you control Serpent Night Dragon. And then what you do is once per turn, reveal the top 4 cards of your deck and use all the following skills depending upon the number of monsters revealed. So if you reveal 1 monster, you add 1 of the revealed cards to your hand. If you reveal 2 monsters, you destroy 1 card your opponent controls. If you reveal 3 or more monsters, you apply both effects. Then place the rest of the revealed cards on the top of the deck in any order. So this skill here doesn't just do 1 thing or 2 thing, or in the case, just doesn't do 1 thing at a time. It can do up to 3 things at a time, you know? And so that means that it can add a card to your hand from the revealed, destroy a card on the field, and then you can stack your deck however way you want and get to the cards you need. This skill is actually bonkers, and I don't know why we don't see it more in play, especially because this deck is actually viable in this format. So without further ado, I'm going to jump right into this deck profile. We're playing 2 of the Serpent Night Dragon. We don't need to play any more than this. You play 3, it's going to be way too much of a brick. If you play 1, you're not going to have it whenever you need it. So this is like the perfect amount in my opinion. So yeah, going on, we play 3 of the Breaker. If you look at it, watch any of my deck profiles, you'll notice I play this card at 3 a lot. This card is crazy. Destroy 1 spell or trap card on the field. He's a 1900 beater. If you're not doing that, he's so good. We also play 3 Charging Knight Gaia, who can be normal summoned, but he becomes a 1900 attack point monster. So the deck is actually essentially supposed to be like a small beatdown deck. And then the last monster we play in the main monster deck is Fear Karibo. That way we can, get it to hand, protect our monsters a little bit more. It's a monster card that also is like considered a hand trap, so a battle hand trap, I should say. Also going on into the deck, go into our spell cards. We play triple Book of Moon. Now this card's insane. If you don't play it in your deck, what are you doing? Welcome to Speed Duels. This is our main staple. The other 2 cards we play is a card called Foolish Burial. That way we can dump our Serpent Night Dragons from our deck to the graveyard. And then we play 3 Silent Doom. Now, Silent Doom is supposed to get back our Serpent Night Dragons to the field in defense mode. Foolish Burial is there to dump it. That way we can actually reborn it back from the graveyard, making it a really easy way to cheat it out from the graveyard. So the only downside is that while it's face up on the field, it can't declare an attack. So if you book it, I believe you can flip it back face up, and then it can declare an attack that turn. So that's a pretty cool interaction. So the reason why this is fine is because this card with this skill is going to be destroying cards almost every single turn. So it doesn't really need to attack. You'll use that as the attack. And then it's like, at that point when you're using this skill, you're not only just destroying monsters for the attack, but you can also destroy spell and trap cards, which really does come up a lot. So the last card we actually play is Tribute to the Doomed. You don't see this card a lot in Speed Duels, and so that's because Offerings, in my opinion, is like the better card, but in this deck in particular, you really do need this card, and that's just because of its discard effect. So you discard 1 card, then target 1 monster on the field and destroy it. So if you end up breaking on a Serpent Night Dragon in hand, you use the Tribute to the Doomed to discard it from your hand. That way you can end up Silent Dooming it later in the game. So for a side deck, we're actually playing 2 Cosmic Cyclones for the Moss matchup. We're playing 2 Offerings to the Doomed. So this card is actually really good in this deck because you're adding cards to hands almost every single turn with your skill. So it's okay if you skip your draw phase. And then for the XYZ matchup, we're playing Lost Winds. As for our our extra deck, we're playing a false extra deck. That way we have our opponents thinking that we're playing Waken the Dragon. That's just because I want to waste breaker counters. That way our breaker can end up climbing it if it absolutely has to. Alright guys, without further ado, I'm going to jump right into this replay. Alright, so today we're actually playing Ranked. I usually don't play Speedle Ranked. I usually am just trying to farm for content. But we're playing against a guy named Hexy, and I think I've seen him a couple times on Showdown. I could be wrong about that, but yeah, without further ado, I'm just going to jump right into this. So we end up beating him in the rock, paper, scissors, and we opt to make him go first because we want to get as many resources to our hand as possible before we get to the Serpent Night Dragon. He's playing Twisted Personality, and then he's also playing Nightmare Wheels, Book of Moons, and Breaker the Magical Warrior. He's going to go ahead and set the Nightmare Wheel, the Book, and the Nightmare Wheel, and just pass the turn on to us. We're going to go to our main phase 1, summon our Breaker, which he's going to Book a Moon. So that's going to set our Breaker face down, and then we're going to hit the end phase. The opponent draws for turn, and then he normal summons his own Breaker with a counter, and then hits over our Breaker. We draw for turn, drawing into the Silent Doom, and then we're actually going to activate Tribute to the Doom, discarding our Serpent Night Dragon from our hand, destroying the Breaker of the Magical Warrior, and then using Silent Doom to get it back from the graveyard. We're going to activate the Nightmare Sonic Blast card, and this is going to banish the top 4 cards of our deck, revealing that we banished 3 monsters and 1 spell. Going into the next play, we're actually going to add the Silent Doom to our hand, and then stack the Gaia, the Sphere Creepo, and then we're going to draw the Sphere Creepo for our next turn. This is going to allow us to pop the Nightmare Wheel here using our second part of our effect, and then we're going to summon the Breaker and pop the other face down card on the field. We're going to enter into battle and attack our opponent directly for 1600. Our opponent draws for turn and ends up getting the Charging Knight Gaia, and attacks our Breaker for 19 to our 16, and we'll take 300 damage here, putting his counters up to 2. We're going to draw for turn, use Nightmare Sonic Blast, revealing 2 monsters, allowing us to destroy the Charging Knight Gaia. We're going to stack the 2 monsters to the bottom, that way we can get another pop next turn, and then we're going to go ahead and put the Foolish Burial to our hand. That way, in case he doesn't out the Serpent Night Dragon, we can actually Foolish it to the graveyard, and then Silent Doom it later. The opponent draws for turn, drawing into the Book of Moon, removing 2 of his counters, and then he's actually going to rip the Silent Doom from our hand. He's going to set his Book of Moon face down, and then summon the Breaker with 1 counter. I'll draw for turn, and I will then use the effect of Nightmare Sonic Blast. This will banish the top 4 cards of my deck, and we ended up banishing 2 monsters again. So we end up destroying the Book of Moon. We then put them all back to the top of deck. And then proceed into our end phase. The opponent draws into a Cosmic Cyclone, and then proceeds to pass turn. Because we're just going to destroy his Breaker, and at that point we're just in a very good play. So going on to the next game, our opponent opts to make us go first, which is a little bad for us. We are definitely a going second deck. We need as many resources as we can possibly get. So I just go ahead and use Foolish Burial, sending the Serpent Night Dragon to the graveyard, setting the Book of Moon, and then setting the Cosmic Cyclone. The opponent draws for turn, and then summons the Breaker of the Magical Warrior, and then we're just going to immediately book it face down. He's then going to set the Zoma and the Book of Moon, and pass turn on to us. We draw into the Silent Doom, which is crazy because we Foolished the Serpent Night Dragon last turn. We're going to use the Cosmic Cyclone, paying 1,000 life points to destroy 1 card on the field, which is the Zoma the Spirit. And then we're going to use the Silent Doom spell card. That way we can get the Serpent Night Dragon to the field. He allows for the activation of the Silent Doom to activate. And then we're going to use the Nightmare Sonic Blast, banishing the top 4. And we got all spell cards. So this means that we can't activate our skill at all. So what we do in this situation is we actually stack the Foolish Burial to the top of deck. That way we can shuffle our deck. So Book of Moon, Silent, Silent, Foolish. That way we can actually shuffle it up and get to the monster cards a little bit faster. If not, we're going to be sitting there for 4 turns waiting to get to a monster card that's not going to come. The opponent summons Charging Knight Gaia, and then attacks into the Serpent Night Dragon. That way he can attempt to get his next counter. We're going to discard the Sphere Creepo from our hand, switching it to defense mode, and then on the start of our turn we're going to use that Foolish Burial we added to hand from last turn, or we added to top of deck from last turn. It's going to send the Serpent Night Dragon to the graveyard. We're then going to use our skill and banish the top 4 cards, revealing that we banished 3 monsters and 1 spell. This makes it to where we destroy the set Book of Moon, and then we're going to add the Breaker, the Magical Warrior, to our hand. That way, whenever he plays his spell and trap cards, because he is playing Twisted, we can actually just pop them right away. And we're going to pass our turn right there. the opponent switches his Charging Knight Gaia to attack mode and then attacks into the Serpent Night Dragon. This will allow for his skill to go up to 2, and then he's going to pass turn off to us. We're going to banish the top 3 cards of the deck, and then destroy the Charging Knight Gaia. We also revealed 3 monster cards, so we get to add a card to hand, which I believe I add Charging Gaia here. I do. To the top of deck, to the top of deck, and to the top of deck. I summon into Charging Knight, knowing that this is a breaker. I'm going to attack into it, and then I'm going to pass turn. The opponent draws the Nightmare Wheel, and he opts to set the Nidoria and the Book of Moon face down, and the Nightmare Wheel. Removing 2 counters. By the way, if you want to know, this is why I kept the breaker in hand. I wanted him to have less likely of discarding the Silent Doom, but I didn't want to set it to the field. The reason why is because I wasn't sure if he was playing in Cosmics or Twisters or anything. So I was just trying to make sure that they stayed in my hand. I shuffle my hand, my opponent rolls, and then he actually hits the breaker. If I wouldn't have done the shuffle there, he would have definitely hit the card I didn't want him to hit. We draw for turn. He uses Book to set our card face down, and then uses Nightmare Wheel. So it's a good thing we did keep that Silent Doom in hand. We use the Silent Doom here. Special summon back to the Serpent Night Dragon. Use the effect of our skill, banishing the top 3, and then getting rid of the Nightmare Wheel. This will also allow for us to get the breaker or the Charging Gaia to hand. And I actually, at this point, I'm just like thinking he set his breaker in defense mode, trying to get a turn. So I'm just like, oh, I'm in an extremely good position then. So what I actually do is I tribute summon for my Charging Knight Gaia at 2,300 attack points, flip summon my Serpent Night Dragon, and then enter into battle phase. And it's Nidoria. I didn't see that at all last game or this game. So I'm like, oh no, I'm an idiot. It was an idiot play to do what I did in the first place. Not going to lie, I wasted so much resource this turn just to do that play. But yeah, I was just trying to cheese on the dude because that's just my play style. And yeah, it just came back to bite me in the butt. And that happens a lot. So I should honestly probably stop doing that to people. I draw for the Book of Moon. Attack with the Charging Knight. He actually has his Zuma face down. I believe he activates it. Summon it to the field in defense mode. Draws the Nidoria. And then it's our turn. We're going to summon the breaker. Use the breaker's effect to pop the Zuma's spirit since it's still considered a trap card. Enter into battle phase. Attack. I know this is Nidoria now. So that's going to get rid of the Charging Knight. He's going to draw for turn, draw the breaker, the Magical Warrior, to which we're going to Book of Moon in immediately. We're going to draw for turn, summon the breaker, and then attack the breaker with the breaker, and then attack our opponent directly with the breaker. The opponent doesn't use the Sphere Karibo in hand, gets 1 counter, draws for turn, and draws Offering to the Doomed. He sets the Karibo face down and the Offerings face down, and proceeds to pass his turn. We draw for turn, drawing the Silent Doom. We use the effect of breaker to pop the face down. And then we attack the opponent. By the way, we didn't use Silent Doom here because we only have 3 cards in deck. We can't use our skill if we only have if we have less than 4 cards in our deck. So yeah, keep that in mind whenever you're playing this deck. That's the reason why I didn't summon the Serpent Night Dragon here. So attacking into the Sphere Karibo, and then attacking our opponent directly for 1,600 life points. And that's the game. Alright guys, if you enjoy this type of content, and if you like this deck, make sure you leave a like. And if you like me, make sure you subscribe. Also, I'd love to hear more from you guys. So you guys should leave a comment in the comment section down below. I'll probably answer every single one of them since there's not a lot of you that do that. So, yeah, other than for that though guys, I hope you have a good day. I want you all to stay awesome, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.